In the present day, Egypt does not only represent an attractive tourist destination as a rule anymore. It is now changing into a considerably different place of research compared to past times when the journeys there were mostly adventurous or archaeological. The intention of the majority of spiritual travelers to Egypt today seems to be the research and insight into the very special energies and powers which are still hidden in a great number of ancient Egypt's monuments and in the symbols of this amazing African country. Our special guest today, Miss Shrilie Roden, set out her journey with a group of Polish people as they followed together in the footsteps of the ancient sacred energies. While meditating and using her magical voice deep within the pyramids and Egyptian temples, she encountered the amazing energy of the ancient power and wisdom of Egypt. In this interview, Miss Roden shares her experience with us of the sacred places she visited there.
Hello.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about your travels to Egypt. So if you could talk about the group, which places you visited, what temples.
Yes, okay. Well, I was invited to go to Egypt through Poland, so actually we were there with a Polish group, although the main workshop leader is Tom de Winter, who teaches this meditation called Merkaba. So I'm there kind of to do sound and sound meditation and to sing all over the place. But there are some people from England that come as well, because Tom is English speaking. So the whole workshop is conducted in English and then translated into Polish. It's quite unusual. And we travel down to Cairo and Luxor. So we've been twice this year. And the first time we went to Cairo, we visited the Cheops pyramid, and that was amazing. We have an amazing guide called Mohammed, and he managed to get the pyramid for us for 2 hours privately for the whole group. So we all went down. It's the first time I've been in a pyramid, and I thought there'd be little steps going down, but it's just this steep wooden walkway going down, and you're sort of crouching down. And we did a sound meditation in the lower chamber. It was really amazing to be in the bottom of the pyramid, just our group, and Tom led us with the Merkaba meditation, and then we did the sound and chanting. And then we went up into the Queen's chamber, which is the pure feminine energy. And it's just extraordinary to be inside the pyramid. And then we went up into the top chamber, which is the King's chamber. And also I led a meditation there where we worked with breathing into our energy centers. The second time we were in the King's chamber just recently, I had this incredible feeling as though the whole of the top of the pyramid was flashing light. It was like a space machine. It's very, very powerful to be inside and to do sound with the group. So that was wonderful. We also had the Sphinx privately this time, because the Sphinx is surrounded by a fence, so you can't normally get close to it. But we went down in between the paws of the Sphinx and did a meditation there, and I sang one of my songs, Miro Delini, Peace in the Valley. And you don't realize how big the Sphinx is. It's this towering giant creature. And below the chest of the Sphinx, there's a wall, and it's covered in hieroglyphs, these ancient hieroglyphs. And we left the Sphinx and walked all the way around, and when we came back, I just felt I had to go to this wall. So I went and I put my hands on the wall, and I said to Agnieszka, photograph me. And my hands were literally shaking like this, and I could feel all this energy. It felt as though I was really connecting with these ancient symbols. I felt all this energy just running down into my body, and in that moment, I made a real commitment. I mean, I've already made a commitment with my work and my life to try and help, but in that moment, I just heard myself saying, in the years that I have left on this planet, I will do everything I can to help. I will use all the power that, Spirit will give me to really help in whatever way I can. So for me, the pyramid and the Sphinx has been an amazing experience. But I didn't feel so much at home in Cairo. It was when we went to Luxor that I really felt at home.
Did you feel like you were a channel for this energy? Or did this energy wake up something inside you? Do you think you were just...
I think it made it stronger, because for a long time now I've felt that I am a channel for energy. I mean, it used to really unnerve me here in Slovenia, because so many people said I'm an angel, and I kept saying, I'm not an angel, you should see me when I'm in a bad temper, and I do sometimes lose my temper. I'm not an angel. But then it happened in Poland, people kept saying, oh, you're an angel, and then people in England, and I thought, I'm not an angel, but I realized that I can kind of move my personality, surely, to one side and become a channel for pure love to come through. I mean, I think everybody can access that pure energy, but we just have to, remove the personality and try and make ourselves clear inside.
But did these temples help in any way to make this channeling stronger?
Yes, it did actually. When I was in the Cheops pyramid, when we were doing the sound chanting in the basement, the lowest chamber, I really felt as though I'd come home in a sense, although it was Luxor where I felt that I was really at home, but I felt I'd come home because I knew that energy. I could feel the power of this sacred geometry, of this immense pyramid. And we focused the group to send a spiral of light with the sound out of the top of the pyramid, and to send a sound out for peace. And it was extraordinary, because a couple of days later I was watching the news and I saw that Obama actually came to the Great Pyramid, and I thought, wow, that's wonderful, because here is a man who's doing a lot for peace and needs all the help he can get. And I felt that we'd done something to really help him, create peace in the world. So yes, I did feel that it deepened the experience, it deepened my commitment, it deepened my knowledge in a way. It reawakened even more in me, because the work I do with sound, I always say to people, I'm not teaching you, I'm helping you to remember what you already know. You carry this knowledge in the cells of your body. It's passed down, through the centuries. So I feel that I reawakened even more knowledge by being in that sacred geometry and making sound. It was wonderful.
And Luxor is known for being the center or the point of light in spirituality. Could you feel it?
Yeah, it was when we were driving into Luxor in the coach the first time, and it's very green there with the Nile, because there's so much, the Nile is very wide and luxurious, and it's very luxurious. And so there's a lot of grass and trees, and it's very beautiful. And then I felt as though I was coming home. And over the 2 visits, we visited 3 different sites at Luxor. There's the Hathor Temple, and Hatshepsut was this queen who became a king almost. She ruled. Everyone knows about Cleopatra, but not many people know the name Hatshepsut. But she actually dressed as a man, just first liberated woman, I suppose, and ruled for about 15 years, I think. And there's this incredible temple there, which has been reconstructed by a Polish architect, I think, or mainly reconstructed, with these flights of steps going up, in the back of the Valley of the Kings. The Valley of the Kings is over there, and Hatshepsut's temple is here. And on the second visit, Tom de Winter wanted us to go into the Hathor Temple, and he wanted us to do a chant there. So in we went with the group, and we were chanting away, and we did the chant, which we had to do 108 times, and then he whispered in my ear, "Sing something high." And I have this piece that I wrote about Tunica Church here, actually in Slovenia, Spiritus Sanctus. So I was just singing very, very high, Spiritus Sanctus laudamus te. Apparently the temple guards just ran because we didn't realize we were supposed to get permission to do something like that. And my voice was beginning to echo around the whole temple and the whole valley. And it was like, oh no, we're going to get into trouble with the military because you haven't got permission. But that was amazing to sit in this ancient place. Hathor is the goddess of Venus. To sit in this ancient place which was dedicated, and to actually sing and to hear the sound echoing around the valley was amazing. But the other amazing place is the temple at Karnak, and that's where I really felt I came home. And that's beautiful. And on the first visit, we were allowed to go into a little private room. There was this immense statue there, black alabaster, and it was a woman with a lion's head. I didn't know at the time that it was I've forgotten her name now, the goddess of war. I'll probably remember it in a minute. Anyway, it was the goddess of war. She was just a bit fierce because I was doing a meditation for peace. So I just kind of sat on the floor, and we all sat on the floor in the darkness and connected with the energy of the ancient people and the energy of the earth there, and made sounds. And back in the main temple in Karnak, there's the area which was apparently the temple of healing, with these huge stone pillars which go up, and they're covered in sacred signs. And as we were in this little temple, this little room, doing this private room, doing the sound meditation, I could feel we were connecting with these symbols on these pillars, and it was like, yes, they were singing with us. And that was an extraordinary experience. So really beautiful. The second time we went, we were allowed, because we have this amazing guide who kind of gets us in everywhere, we went into a place where the public aren't normally allowed, where they're doing an architectural dig, and we sat on the stones there, and we did a meditation there and connected with the stones. So it was really wonderful. And later that evening we went into the other temple, which is in Luxor, which is incredible at night because it's all lit up. And there's this huge hall area with big stone pillars, stone statues around it, and really extraordinary. So I absolutely love it. I don't want to leave the Karnak Temple, actually. I just kept saying, can we hide somewhere and stay here overnight? Please, I just want to stay here and just be here on my own in the temple at night.
And what did you feel exactly? What kind of vibrations?
Well, I felt, the vibrations, it's just very strong, it's very powerful. It's this ancient knowledge. In fact, I wrote a song, which I can't sing all of it because I haven't learned it yet. I've only just finished writing it. But when I was in the Cheops pyramid the first time, I got this chant because it's quite hard work. You're bent double, it's boiling hot, you've got sweat dripping down you. Sometimes it was pitch black because the lights had gone and you don't really know where you're going. So I just had this chant that came through, Ra, Mat, Ka. It's just 3 words, and I didn't really know what it meant, so I was just going Ramat Ka, and it kept me going. And I said to Muhammad afterwards, what does it mean? Does it mean anything? And I knew that Ra was the sun god, I knew that. But Mat is the power of truth, and Ka is the soul. So it was like, Ramatka. So I wrote this song later, and the words are, what's it? I can't remember the words, sorry. Ancient body, ancient stones. But it was all about the ancient mystery, you know, the ancient mystery, the ancient knowledge that is still there, because the native Indians say that stones are alive, and they are the keepers of the secrets. They hold, it's like, you know, they hold all the knowledge because they've been there since time began. So my chant, my little song, the chorus is Ramatka, Ramatka, let truth be my goal. Ramatka, Ramatka, fly free, eternal soul. So it's really this ancient knowledge, this ancient truth, this ancient mystery, connecting with that and deepening that experience. And also when you go in a group, because we're a group that's focused on this Merkaba meditation, which is based on sacred geometry, which I don't teach, Tom teaches that. But when we go in a group on this journey, and when we do the chanting and the meditation and the sound all together in these sacred places, the group also kind of really bonds together, you know, which is wonderful. And the other thing we did, which isn't to do with the pyramids, but we went out on a glass-bottom boat into the sea. So we're under the sea and you, to the coral reef, so you can see all these fish. And I got the group making sound and connecting with the fish and the ocean and the water. And I had my guitar. I was sitting there just singing to the fish, you know, through this glass, just singing. So it's really beautiful experience.
And did the other members of the group feel the same way you did? Or?
Yes, everybody had an amazing time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really good. I think that's what's so nice is when you do a trip like this, because you do the sightseeing as well. You know, we can go to a papyrus shop and we go to an alabaster shop and we have lunch on the Nile and all that kind of thing. So that's a bit of the touristy thing. But because we're able to get these sacred places privately, and we also went out into the desert and did a meditation up on a hill there, and that was incredible to sit up on these stones, you know, and then making sound, and then you open your eyes and there's the desert, you know. It's extraordinary feeling. And there was just one single tree because you really feel the connection of everything on the planet. When we were in the desert there, I felt the connection with the Native American Indians, you know, up on their high places and up on their stones and hills. And that's what we really need to do, you know, to feel the oneness rather than the separation, which creates all the problems with the religions and the wars.
And going back to Egypt, would you have any advice for people who'd like to experience it more spiritually? Like you mentioned, military.
Well, no, you do have to get permission for everything, and that sometimes takes quite a while. I mean, Agnieszka in Warsaw, who organises things, is very good at getting the connections in Egypt. And we stayed in Luxor in the evening because we wanted to see the temple in the evening. But to do that, because we were based in Hurghada, we had to pay for a military escort to go back across the desert at night because it's still dangerous. They won't allow you to leave Luxor after 6 o'clock at night unless you have got your military escort. So you have to be very careful about that, and also about the clothes you wear, to understand that it's a different culture. And if you go around with your mini skirts, you know, and things cut around here, you know, you will attract a lot of sometimes unwanted attention from the men. You have to honor their culture as well, I think, and understand that it is a different culture and a different way of being. I was given one of those long, I've forgotten what they're called. It's like a long kaftan, really beautiful in turquoise. 2 Polish ladies gave it to me as a gift. And the Egyptians really loved it. When I went into the alabaster shop, you know, with this on, and the owner came up and he said, "Oh, you look so beautiful." You know, they really like it when you respect their tradition and their way, and I think you should do that. We go there as Westerners, but it is a different religion and a different way of life, you know, and we need to honor that as much as we ask them to honor our way of life.
Did you feel this spirituality that you felt in the temples also in the people, or are they quite different? Do you think it's divided, you know?
That one's a difficult question because I found it difficult when I first went to Hurghada because the hotel was run entirely by men, and for 4 days I didn't see an Egyptian woman because we were just based inside the big hotel complex, and I thought, oh, you know, this is very strange. But then we went down to Cairo, you know, you see more people. I think it's difficult. Obviously there is this deep spiritual tradition and deep spirituality, but there's also the inequality. You know, when you drive into Hurghada a certain way and you see there are people living in the graveyard, you know, you see the children who are ragged, and everyone is begging, looking for bakshish, looking for money. It's a hard life, really. And you know, you're driving along in your air-conditioned coach and you just see some person just sitting on a stone by the side of the road, just sitting there, and you think, what are they doing there? You know, they're just sitting and they don't seem to have anything. So I think in some ways it's a hard life for them. But yes, there is obviously a great spiritual tradition.
But this ancient tradition has been lost somehow. Is it felt in the people that, you know, they're just monuments for touristic purposes?
There is the one side of it, which is that, you know, they're just touristic monuments, yes. But then there are other people who are still on the same spiritual path, you know. And there's a lovely man whose shop we went to who's creating remedies and perfumes, but very spiritual ones. And he created one which is called Healing of the Soul, you know, which was absolutely gorgeous to smell. And then he'd created a whole range of chakra perfumes as well. So there are people who are working on the same level. And then, of course, there are those who just creating whatever they can to get the money from the tourists, but they have to survive. So you can't, you know, tourism is their way of life.
And in the Cheops pyramid, if I understand correctly, you sang for the first time in Egypt. Was this an internal sort of thing, or were you asked to sing?
No, Tom was wonderful because Tom de Winter, because, you know, he's leading the Merkaba meditation, but he kept asking me to sing all over the place, you know, and he just whispered in my ear, sing something, you know, sing. Have you got a song for opening the heart? Have you got a song for the feminine energy? I sang Ave Maria in the Queen's Chamber, and that was strange because it's a real mixture, you know, it's the Queen's Chamber, it's Egyptian, but Maria is the divine feminine, so we were connecting with the divine feminine in ourselves, going through the pyramid, you know, the base chamber is the root, you know, connecting to the earth, and then we go up to the second chamber, that's the feminine, that's the right side of the brain, the top chamber is the masculine, the left side of the brain, so we were really trying to balance ourselves through the pyramid energy, and it was such an honor to be asked to sing. You know, I just thought, wow, I can't believe this. And someone filmed some of it as well. Tom asked me to sing a song when we were in the King's Pyramid of Coming Home into the Heart, and I just improvised this whole song. Everyone was sitting on the floor and lying on the floor, and I was just singing, and I couldn't really believe it that my voice was echoing around the Cheops pyramid. You know, it was really extraordinary. When we went to the Sphinx, we were standing by the Sphinx and it was twilight, and you know, it's that part of Cairo where the desert begins, so there's a lot of desert, and there are the hills and the stars and a crescent moon, and as I looked at the hills, it was like something out of a Hollywood film. These two camels were being ridden across the hills, and you saw the silhouette of the camel heads and the riders against the night sky, and I thought, this is just amazing, what a picture, you know. The pyramid, the Sphinx, the stars, the moon, and two camel heads. Really wonderful.
Is the sun different, or being, you know, Amun-Ra was the son of God?
Yes.
Is there something felt differently towards the sun in Egypt, or is it just...
Well, the ancient religion was that the sun was God. You know, Amun-Ra was the sun god, and in fact, I had an experience when I was doing actually receiving some therapy in England, because therapists need therapy as well, you know. Some years ago, she'd said to me, the therapist suddenly said, go back to a life where you really had your power. And I went back, and I was a young girl called Rana. And I had this power to make the rain fall. It sounds extraordinary, doesn't it? But my parents knew that, and they gave me this name Rana. And I suddenly remembered it this time in Egypt, and I said to Mohammed, is there an Egyptian name, Rana? And he said, oh yes, my sister's child is called it, or something, Rana. What does it mean? He said, well, Ra is the sun god. Rana means you are part of God, you know. So that was extraordinary for me, that I had intuited this name that actually existed. So yes, Rana in the ancient times was God. You know, God wasn't something separate. Ra, the sun was God, because, you know, without the sun and the heat and the warmth of the sun, you can't live without everything growing. And,
Is it different, the sun in the desert, or the whole picture? I don't mean I mean the feeling of it all, with the pyramids, and if you put yourself back in the area of the temples, is it somehow connected to the sun?
I think you really feel the power of the sun. You know, I come from England, where we're lucky if we get a sunny summer, but it's you know, it's a gentle sun. I can understand why they feel that the sun is God, or they felt that the sun was God in Egypt, because that sun can kill. You know, it's relentless. Even walking up through the Valley of the Kings, you know, it was about 38 degrees the first time we were there. We were there in May. It was very, very hot. And you can feel how, you know, if you're out in that for a whole day, my feet were beginning to swell, you know, and you're thinking, water, water. It's relentless. So it's amazing, but, you know, it's dangerous, that sun. So
ruthless.
Ruthless, yes, absolutely ruthless, yeah. We had some fun. We had these four-wheel drive bikes, you know, and we were going around the desert on them just for some fun. But they made us put these, they tied all our scarves in this beautiful way. The men did it, you know, they knew exactly how to tie it. You twist this here, you twist this there, and then suddenly, you know, we all had these veils on because of the sand, because you couldn't breathe it in. So, and it was lovely, actually, because it's, you know, it's quite cool. And I found when it was very hot that wearing the long kaftan type dress actually helps, because it shields you from the sun, whereas you think you'll be hotter. It's actually cooling.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
Oh